you guys doing? It's Christian here with Rival TCG, back with another video. For those who are always watching, welcome back. For the new people here, subscribe. We post a lot of deck list videos, gameplay, openings, so it's a lot of fun around here. Come join. I know a lot of people watch the videos, don't subscribe. I don't know the exact percentage, but it's up there. So definitely subscribe. Today, we're just going to be making a deck list profile here on Purple Monkey D. Luffy. Obviously, the starter decks recently came out. For those who don't know, new starter decks came out. If you're wondering where this art came from, it's literally from that. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and show the list. Now, to be fair, before I show this list, I didn't create it. It was actually a buddy of mine. But still a really strong list, and I think a lot of people will enjoy playing something new versus the all the old stuff that's been in the meta for quite a while now. But yeah, so for those that don't know, Monkey D. Luffy, active main. You may add one card from the top of your life to your hand, and if you have 0 or 3 or more Dawn cards on your field, add it to one Dawn card from your Dawn deck as active. Pretty strong. So it doesn't come back as rested like a lot of other cards. It comes back as actually active so that you can use it. So I feel like with this deck, you really want to just protect your life so that you can take your life so you can get Dawn. So got the leader there. I'm going to start off with the non-straw hat cards. So we got for Mr. 2. Essentially what he does, on play, add up to one Dawn card from your deck and set it as active. And then when attacking, select up to one of your opponent's characters. This character's base power becomes the same as the selected character's power during the turn. So basically when he's attacking, you can copy one character on their field, typically the highest attack character, and he gains that attack. Pretty strong. So really with this, it's really in here for the ramp. That's what this deck really does, is just ramping, you know. So card's really strong. I think it's a mandatory. You have to play it in this deck, and it's always going to be a target when you do attack with them. They're always going to try to get rid of this guy. So feels like a pseudo blocker, right? Next we have Trafalgar Law. So it's a blocker, of course. On play, -1 Dawn. If your opponent has 7 or more cards in their hand, trash 2 cards from your opponent's hand. This card's just so strong. It kind of does the same effect as Pudding, where you could literally, as long as you're playing a purple leader, you could literally just continuously ask your opponent, hey, how many cards you have in your hand? And you could literally psych them out, and they'll start guarding early or doing whatever it takes to get their hand size a little lower. Card's really strong. I think you have to play it in every purple deck. I could also see playing 4, but in this deck list, I see why not either, because it's not a straw hat, so you can't search off of it with other cards that you're going to see here. So definitely you have to play it. You could play 3, you could play 4. I think 4 is actually the right call. Next, we got 4 Queens. Queen is a blocker, and on play, Dawn -1, draw 2 cards and trash 1 card from your hand. Pretty strong. You just basically, if you have a brick in your hand that has no counter or whatever the case, or you're looking for something specific, you just play this card down and hope that you draw it. Really strong card. Blocker. Not really much to say about it. It's just a really, really good card. Next we got, of course, for Magellan. I mean, this card just, I feel like it doesn't really need an introduction, but you know, this card alone can win you the game. It's just really that strong. On play, you -1 Dawn. Your opponent returns 1 Dawn from their field to their Dawn deck. And then opponent's turn, when this card is KO'd, your opponent returns 2 Dawn from their deck to their Dawn deck. Pretty strong. This alone here, they basically either respond to this and lose the whole turn, so they're basically going back a turn and Dawn, or they just don't do anything to it, and then you just have a constant 6k body on the board. Most of the time, they're probably going to get rid of it. Now, obviously, there are ways to get around this, like with blue, you can return it to the hand, or with yellow, you can return it to the life. Things like that, but still, nonetheless, really, really strong card. This card alone can win you games. Just literally just playing this down on the field. So, really, really, really strong card. I think you have to just keep it at 4. I don't think there's really much that you could do about that. And that's all the... Well, actually, there's one more, but I'll save that towards the end because it's fine. I mean, I think I could... It's a boss monster, so... Next, we're gonna obviously talk about 4 Zoros. This is the new Zoro that just recently came out. On play, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 purple Straw Hat type character, and add it to your hand, and place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Basically, a Nami. If this card had a counter, my gosh, this card would be so broken. But I still think it's a very, very strong card. It's a 4. You're searching for a card. I mean, there's not really much to say about it. This card's just really strong. Now we're going to start talking about all the Straw Hat options you have here. So we're going to start off with 4 Onami. It's a blocker. And if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on the field, trash 1 card from your hand and draw 2 cards. Basically almost the same thing as Queen. Well, probably the exact same thing as Queen. But it's the searchable hand filter blocker. Card's just good. It's a 1K counter on the worst case scenario, so it's not a brick. Really good card play. And with this deck, you're ramping, so you get the 8 Dawn pretty quick. Next, we got another card from the new starter deck, Sangoru. When attacking, if you have 8 or more cards on your, or 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, draw 1 card. Really strong. 1K counter, searchable, 6K body. You're drawing a card. Really strong. They're going to try to get rid of that as soon as possible because they don't want you to just continuously just draw for free. Literally just to attack. That's just crazy. Next, I'm going to go over the Straw Hats, but they're 2Ks. So we got Usohachi. So Dawn +1. When attacking, if you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, rest up to 1 of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Really, really strong card. Really, mainly for me, it's just that it's a usable 2K. I love my 2Ks. If anybody knows any deck that I make, it's a whole bunch of 2Ks because I hate bricks. So, really, really strong card. Really just for the 2K and then the fact that it's searchable. Next, we got 4 Sanjis. Sanji, if the number of Dawn cards in your field is 2 or less than the number of on your opponent's field, give this card in your hand -3 cost, and it's a blocker. So not only is it a 2K counter, not only is it searchable, it's a blocker on top of that you can play for a 3 cost. Really, really strong. I don't see why anybody wouldn't play 4 of this, especially the fact that it's searchable. It's a 2K. It's just never a dead card, ever. And then the last 2K that we got is for Nosuke. Sorry if I'm saying these names wrong. So it's Dawn ×1. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards in your field, this character gains Rush. So your only form of Rush. It's searchable. It's a 2K. What's not to love about that card? Let's put that right here. The light's a little reflective there. Next, we got Luffy-Tarou. This is honestly probably the best card in the deck. Basically, on play, -1 Dawn. Play up to 1 purple Straw Hat character with a type character card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. Card's just really cracked. You could literally play the Sangoru. You can play even Sanji because if you have 2 or less Dawn, you could. You're probably not going to have 2 or less Dawn, but nonetheless, you could. You could play the blocker Onami. There's just a lot of cards that you can play. If Law was a Straw Hat, it'd be insanely broken. But in this case here, yeah, there's just a lot of other cards that you could play. The card's just really, really strong. You're spamming the board. You're drawing cards. You're ramping. You're making them lose Dawn. Card's pretty strong, and I feel like it's just overall in the deck, it has a lot of utility. So, then this was the boss monster, so we played 4 Charlotte Linlin. So on play, -1 Dawn, you may trash 1 card from your hand, add 1 card from the top of your deck to the life of your, or from the top of your deck to your life. then add up to one of your opponent's character with a cost of 6 or less to the top or bottom of their life. So it's really your only form of control, and you're going to get there just so quick. Not only are you getting your life back, but you're removing a body off their board. So I really don't see a side effect with this card. I mean, you know, unless you count the brick part. And since this deck does play a few bricks, not a lot of them, but you know, more than I like. You play the 3 Gum Jatling, the 0 cost event that every deck has, where you can trash 1 card from your hand up to one of your leaders or character gains plus 3,000 during the battle. So basically, you can make these cards have counter. I think it's really important to have at least that. Overall, the deck's really strong. I definitely suggest giving it a try. It's fun. It's something new than this old boring meta. So I think this will be a really good start off of if you want to try to play Purple Luffy. But let me know what you guys think. Comment down below if you have any questions. And thanks for watching.